The only thing that sucks though is now that I got everything plugged into the Rodecaster, into the new machine, it fucking is. I have to use my glide point mouse, and it's so goddamn annoying. One more click, and we'll see here. Nobody fresher than my click. Because ain't nobody else do it like this, infidels.
That's right. That is right. That is true. And I'm
a lot of good feedback this week, man. Lots of good feedback from people.
Oh, good. Good to hear
that.
Dude,
it's just crazy. Like last night I was up and I was like, dude, just not sleeping at all. And be like, welcome to my world, Hamin. I'm a trucker. That JVD, he's a trucker. He listens to us all night and shit, man. So
wow.
It's crazy. You just don't know where people are getting you. You know what I mean?
Where do you see the feedback at?
They just hit me up on Twitter or whatever, or sometimes in a Podbean thing or in an email sometimes. But it is the Monday Locker Room, infidels. We're coming to life here early morning, twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. And we confess we're the best. We speaking from the Eagle's Nest high atop. Get your soul repossessed. Nokia. These women blowing up my Nokia. Double axe handle, Randy Savage. Oh, yeah. And that's how we do it this morning, infidels. Get it lit up where you can get it up here at Conspiracy Horseman Land on Twitch, or at hackerhamin.podbean.com or Hamin Media Group at podbean.com. Ya Allah. Good morning to ya. As the Broasters Coffee courses through my veins, as I can feel my eyebrows getting raised and the bags underneath my eyes filling back out as we approach another critical mass week of work here at Hamin Media Group, just pushing everything forward, working on Russo brand stuff, exciting new projects going up all the time. The debate shows who's going to be the master debater. We're going to find out who's the master debater around here. Going to take that title off of RBV, just like I did in the Cage Theory Pick'em Challenge at UFC this weekend. So it's Hacker Hamin, even though I'm not on the road, it's heels over strong, winning all day long in the Hamin Media Discussion Group on Facebook, infidels. Where the hell are you? Wake up. Let's go, Monday Locker Room. Ya Allah. What's going on, guys?
It's going good this morning, Ben. RBV, you got to I think you got to get rally, man. So right now on the Twitter poll, MSG has your number, but I think there's still time for you to catch up. So do you have a case to make for yourself right now?
What we've got here, it just falls on my shoulders. It's my responsibility here. I was a little preoccupied over the weekend, but I got a few days here, at least a few hours that I've got to go out there. I've got to hit the campaign trail, get this grassroots thing going here. Family Guy will rally. We will rise. But I think overall, just tremendous feedback. A lot of people just enjoying the format that we put together and, the banter back and forth. But I got a little making a ground to catch up on.
Yeah, let them know, man.
That's all right.
Vote, bro. What's going on? We've got some interactive stuff going on with the debates. We want you to watch it and get with it. Where can they go to vote on who do they think wins, South Park or Family Guy, Beast?
If you want to watch the debate, you can go to the Hamin Media Group YouTube page. Of course, we would love for y'all to subscribe while you're there, but you can check out the debate between RBV and MSG on Family Guy versus South Park, and then the poll takes place on the Hamin Media Group Twitter page. You just go there, and it's pinned at the top of the page. You can vote on who you feel won the debate. We started things kind of lighthearted with the Family Guy South Park, but we're looking to get more into more serious topics, whether they be political or whether they be based on wrestling. But I think it'll be a good way to kind of explore a variety of different things. And so definitely would love for y'all to check it out. Tell me what you think. We'll make some adjustments as we go forward. Of course, just trying to bring in different varieties of entertainment. But it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing a deep dive into other topics as we go down the line. So definitely let us know as well what you would like to hear talked about, debated about, and we will figure it out on digital debates. But awesome, it's a lot of fun. Man. Looking forward to it.
I got to say what's up to the chat room already. J Hal Fudge 420, Atlanta Thrasher, PMAC, A. Andrezen with the bits, and PMAC with the bits already this morning. Appreciate you guys. But they're enjoying it. Everyone's trying to get pumped up and get things going. I got to say I'm a mark for Dr. Gimmick. I mean, obviously I know Dr. Beast, but when I see the white jacket, the bow tie, the clean shaven face, the glasses, dude, I mean, I've known this guy and loved him for a long time, and usually it's ripped jeans, a dirty dirty old wife beater and some shoes that smell like cat piss for the mobile homer gimmicks. So to see him complete opposite of that, it kind of possibly a gimmick, but it really isn't. He looks so professional, and how he really is on a day-to-day basis. That shit's awesome, Beast. I love it.
Well, we had a referee episode yesterday on the Barn Burner show that I do. So, of course, as a proper referee, as you notice, most are clean shaven and they kind of have that uniform look. And so it was to kind of illustrate a point. But it is funny that I feel like I didn't even think about it. The transition of I used to always have the wrangly beard and hair, and now all grown up finally.
Yeah, all our little babies grows up. Cut off flannel shirt, blue flannel shirt with ripped sleeves off it and shit like that, man. That's what I'm remembering.
Beast, is the attire complete? Do you have the fanny pack on?
I don't, but I am not wearing pants, so I feel like that makes up for not wearing the fanny pack in the present.
Dr. Cosby style. But turn your head and cough. It's RBV. How you doing, buddy, this weekend? It's good to see you, dude. Clean shaven as well. Big couple of baby faces over here today. I hate it.
Yeah, man. Up with the sun to finish the run this morning, and we got some good headlines this weekend. Usually it takes a little bit, some research. You got to stretch to find some stuff to talk about, but there was a lot going on in the news, and I think we're gonna get a lot of great conversation for everybody out there from the two of you.
Awesome, man. I'm looking forward to it. We had a good time this weekend watching along with UFC here at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman, hip hop sing along happy hour in between fights. And it's always a good time, man, especially when I was feeling so shitty all day long on Saturday that I finally kicked out a little bit towards the end of the night. I was able to hang out with everybody. So appreciate them pulling me through.
And I wanted to mention too, RBV, I think you're remiss in not mentioning you may be in my neck of the woods coming up here within the next 24 to 48 hours. So I'll be very interested in how I can help supply you with a little more RBV fitness as you make your way down to the Derby City, because you do know, despite a pandemic, we do have some pretty killer food places down here in Louisville. So looking forward to having you down here and checking out some of this food scene.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to touch base with you when we got off air here. There's a slight possibility this afternoon I might get shifted back a week, but everything still is the plan to make our way down there. So I will be, if so, I'll be making my way there early tomorrow.
All right,
for a little RBV fitness Louisville style.
It's going to happen either this week or next. So either way, looking forward to it.
Good, definitely a great foodie city, man. Easy to pack on pounds there. Even the goddamn Dairy Queen breakfast there is pretty slim slam, to be honest with you. All the Waffle Houses you can get, but no, there's Man Beast knows all the top quality foodie places and best spots in Louisville. Just hopefully the powder keg doesn't go off over there. I know tensions are running high, and it's hot, man. The block is hot over there right now, and a lot of people I care about. the people who I don't live near that I care about most are in Chicago and Louisville, and plenty in Florida and Atlanta too. But like where I cut my teeth, you know what I mean? And right now, both of those places are just in an insane mindset. So I'm thinking about a lot of people who got to live in that shit, man, and it worries me. There's no doubt about that. Not to say it's gonna go absolutely ballistic, but it only takes one dumb motherfucker to set some stuff off, or some agent provocateur to set some stuff off, and they'll have problem, reaction, solution, and lock everybody down for real, and then shit gets scary, bro. And I just don't want to see a place where I love and respect it so much be the fucking catalyst for that first domino in the fall of whatever's going on, man, right now.
It's crazy, man. So I mean, as you know, it's one of the side jobs that I do is I work as a doctor of physical therapy, and I work as a home health physical therapist. So I usually see people right after they're having total hip, total knee surgery, stuff like that. But literally our corporate company, Select Medical, has sent all of the home therapists a letter that we have to carry with us in our car, so that way we can possibly be able to get through roads that are blocked off or things like that in order to treat these patients that just had surgery and need physical therapy in order to get back to normal functioning again. But we have to literally carry this legal letter with us everywhere we go in the city in case there happens to be a road or a protest or just if we happen to get stopped and and possibly arrested. It's kind of crazy right now.
You're kind of a medic on the front lines of World War III, to be honest with you.
It's nuts.
Yeah, even though it hasn't broken down into hot war yet, like the fact that is the new, here's my papers and shit like that, just to get a sympathetic, I'm going to help somebody so they can stop their emotional and mental breakdown that maybe is very justified in a lot of reasons, but just the disruption of society, they don't think about that somebody just had double knee surgery and they need that shit. I mean, they've got their own issues, but their scope is very limited. So hopefully it doesn't come to that where you're fucking having to work your way through some goddamn roadblock on the Waterson Expressway to go help somebody who's really in need because somebody else wants to make the fucking nightly news. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
That's just the fucking upside down that we live in, man. A lot of people are retreating here to twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman because they know everything's fucking breaking down around them. It's crazy. And they just look for some peace of mind, you know, where they can find like-minded people. But I really hope that scenario is persona non grata, and you don't have to do any of that shit, man.
And Ben, I'm glad you said that, and not for me. I don't, you know, to me, it's part of what I do. But I think of all the other services that people don't think about that are getting affected with the protests and riots and everything. You know, do you want to think about Meals on Wheels or home nursing care or these other services that people need to be able to continue to function and sometimes even live, maybe not in my case, but in case of nursing and certain medications, patients that have a pick line in their arm and need an IV that they have to have a nurse come so many times a week to give them their medicine. And if, you know, roads are blocked off because of protests, you're potentially cutting off a person's ability to continue to thrive and possibly live. And I don't think people recognize the other issues that are being caused by them trying to take a stand in a certain way. And it's more so that they aren't realizing the repercussions of their actions. And I'm not saying that what they are standing for are not justified. I think some of what is being protested for, at least from a rationale standpoint, is I can't say necessarily it's not justified to cut off care, but I could say I can understand the point they're trying to make. It. I think it's a valid and it's a noble point to make. But you also have to consider the actions you are taking to make that point are unfortunately harmful to others who have no say or involvement in the matter.
Now let's take that a step further. And Soros, whatever it is, Clinton, Illuminati, they have that all figured in. They want the problem reaction solution. They want depopulation. So that's just fringe benefits to them when they can shut down society, ruin an economy, and have people on martial law lockdown, soft turn one, that those people with pre-existing conditions, well, it's a little bit Hitler style of they're gonna fucking go, they were meant to go. You know, like they're depriving people of that. Like that's just a fringe benefit of everything else they're trying to push agenda wise, the depopulation of people who really need health care or people in nursing homes who are going to have tougher time surviving these types of things. That's just their little wink on the side in the 4D chess game where you, like I said, you're on the front lines really trying to help the individual. They look at it all as a group, and if they can lose 250,000 people and they want to, that they're going to profit off of that too, man. That's just how it is right now.
The Beast, how close is your homestead to like the hotbed of the action? Or have you had any protests like in your neighborhood? Anything get close to you?
I mean, nothing too crazy. I'm more on the outskirts of the city. Most of it's happening in central downtown area. There have been some protests that have been kind of on the outskirts, but most of those have been more peaceful in nature and really more just a lot of traffic. But the ones downtown are the ones that have gotten a little bit more crazy. That's where we had the protesters over the weekend that accidentally supposedly discharged a weapon and shot someone. And that's where all the craziness seems to be happening, is more in the downtown Louisville area. So when you do come and visit RBV, I do recommend staying just maybe you can stay in Louisville, but stay kind of more on the outskirts of
you don't
the
need
city.
to go downtown. Yeah, Bardstown Road, that's where you want to be, bro. Like that's where the food is.
I would even say right now Bardstown Road can sometimes get a little more action as well.
Well,
yeah. I'd say maybe more J-Town, Middletown, if you know the Louisville area, kind of more on the outskirts that's kind of away from where the craziness is happening.
Yeah, because I had to go downtown Cincinnati because where I'm at here in the area in Southern Ohio, I'm about 30 minutes from actually downtown, but I had to go down there for some work reasons. And it was when kind of they were at their peak. I mean, it wasn't to the standoff point that we're getting in Louisville where you kind of got armed sides, facing off with one another. But it was rather intense, but, I didn't really feel unsafe. But, yeah, it was awkward at times. But where I'm at, it's a night and day from what you see on from, your general news where it's, the strong liberal movement and all that. I'm out in Trump country. It's, they're still conservative all the way, and they're not letting anything really affect their lives in what we're hearing from, the media and these societal changes. It's business as usual for them. And
the problem is the catalyst of this stuff. Sure, these guys from the NFAC are armed to the teeth and they're hot about a situation that could be a huge conspiracy as well. And this young woman who was killed down in Louisville, is not trying to belittle what they're trying to accomplish. And now that it's come to this type of shit, but it's people ratcheting it up the level that they want you to when you see motherfuckers walking around with M4s, AR-15s, mollied out shotguns and shit. Like, that's going to drive other dudes who have just a 357 or a 38 to put that in their fucking car, ride out illegally, and then some dumb cocksucker at 4:30 on a Thursday on the Waterson Expressway on the drive home is pissed off because he got cut off and the fucking tension is so high, and then it's clack, 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 and we've got something that's not even related to what the original shit was, but the pressure is now making people turn on each other, and that's how this shit really starts to like unfold, bro, where it's really the civil war in your city because of some other shit that they want to do, and it's gonna happen. I was up last night from 11. You can check my Twitter for the diehards at @bin_Hamin, 11 till 4 a.m. wide awake, and I was watching World Star, and dude, again, I watched Chicago gangsters roll up. Middle of the fucking day, sunshine, rolled up past two other gangsters and a chick outside holding maybe a 2 or 3 year old, and I think she was pregnant with another one. Homies roll up on a drive-by, blop, blop, blop. This is 3 days ago. Fucking shoot the one guy in the leg, fucking shoot the woman in the stomach. She goes and hides behind a car with her little baby, 2, 3 years old. She's shot. They fucking come out, grab her, throw her in the back of a car with the dude who got shot in the leg. Some grandpa dude comes up and picks up the baby off the fucking ground and they go in. That's every fucking normal day. That's normal now. I watched the video of the dudes roll up on that fucking funeral home, got out with the AK on these motherfuckers standing out in front of a funeral home, B. Like, what the fuck, man? Like this, people like America, dude, it's all a farce. This is some Wild West shit right here. And I hate to say it, but how the West was wondering what the fucking rules were in most places where they were just so unruly was you got to check your guns at the fucking, at the town clerk's office, or if a fucking man kills you, that's just it. Like he's done right there. You're hung, in a matter of moments. Like it has to be a retaliation in such quick real time that it scares the shit out of people to do that kind of stuff, because right now they're just out there bucking shots and fucking taking lives with no course of like, what the fuck am I doing out here doing this type of shit, man? People just rolling up with AKs like it's a fucking movie and fucking clapping. What's that gonna do to every average white dude, Asian dude, Mexican dude who's a hard worker? I'm not saying black dudes aren't hard work, black dudes who are hardworking guys who want to avoid all this type of shit. But then what are you just going to be out there fucking naked while fucking 70% of the block might be rolling with Tech 9s and AKs and shit like that? Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do? Just submit to will? Because it's not like they are giving anybody a chance. They are just rolling up, spraying fucking shots. There's no like confrontation. There's no like, let's talk it down. It's just kill, kill, kill right now, man. It's insane.
It's funny you say that, but it's one of those misconceptions about the Old West. Everyone thought it was just gun toting everywhere. I mean, they had strict as hell gun control laws there. As you said, you went into the town,
getting shot at poker games, like just pulling out 38s or 45s and fucking putting dudes down. Like, how far? We're right there now. How far are we away from having Old West justice at this point, dude?
Well, it was then. I mean, if you shoot somebody or steal a horse, you're at the end of a rope. That's the way it was.
And it doesn't need to be the sheriff. It could be that guy's brother that goes and kills you and brings your fucking body in on the back of his four-wheeler and goes, he shot my fucking brother, and justice is done. Like, we're talking about the breakdown of civilization with justifiable revenge murders. That's going to be the new justice. Unfortunately, if this shit keeps going forward, because if you think this American system is not completely failed you, what do you expect to like go to the court systems? There may not be court systems in 3 to 4 years, which usually on a major homicide trial takes that fucking long to do that kind of stuff. So insane times, man. I just want everybody out there, especially in those cities, to really fucking, watch your back, dude. Just stay small if you can. And, don't put yourself in a place or anybody you love where it's just like, oh, we're going to carry on ignorantly with life, because there's a lot of people out there who aren't thinking as clear as you are. And it's just, I think, best to avoid them. There's hills you want to die on. And then you could fucking die on flat ground here and it not even be your fault, just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, just be safe. And that's not some wear a mask, be safe. Be fucking smart out here. You know what I'm saying?
Bulletproof mask.
Right. Oh, sorry to break it down there, but I definitely just want to talk some sense in the Monday locker room. I know some people are trying to escape it, but some people don't really know what's going on because they are in Trump country and shit like that. Me too. Like, they're not going to come up here and go through the woods and, Man Beast has seen it. I'm not too worried about them burning it down up here. They got a lot of acreage to fucking burn if they want to try that shit. But some shit could definitely get strange in the next 3 to 4 weeks, as they put on that ultimatum while they were down there that they want justice for this in the next 4 weeks, or else we're going to burn this motherfucker down, I think were the words. So be good, y'all.
Before we go forward into the wrestling, I do have a kind of a conspiracy question for you, Ben. I don't know if you know the answer to this. I saw a little bit of the story. I need to see more, but it was about Elon Musk and Tesla with some sort of coup in Bolivia. Did you know anything about that, or what the deal is as far as this?
No, I don't know about a coup in Bolivia. Yeah, I don't know about a coup in Bolivia. I did see that he did put out a statement about giving people money directly and not through all this shit. So he's all about paying people out during this time, as he went from number 7 to number 5 richest man in the world last week. We also talk about his new Neuralink project, where he wants fucking Neuralink drilled into your head, hardwired into your brain. And they sold it as like, you can download music right to your head and hear it. Oh, fucking great. Like, I need more little Uzi Vert in my fucking brain with commercials. Like, if it was some Matrix, I know Kung Fu type shit where you fucking instantly can learn everything Bruce Lee knows, maybe. But I heard he pulled all of his people off of every other side project and has them focusing strictly on the satellite link and Mars landing projects now. Like, that's where all of his energy's focused. And he made billions in the last month with, I think, some government contract, like something ridiculous, because alien UFO disclosure is here. That's the biggest story of the week, really, and it still keeps getting glossed over. It keeps getting glossed over. But he's got something there where he's either is alien, and much like the one that consulted during the 60s, what's his name? Something Tor. Can't remember the first part. But dude, I mean, he's just not all the same, not built the same, So even with things like the hyperlink and things like that, I think that's alien technology that he has been trying to push. But yeah, dude, I don't know about this Bolivia thing. Was he just
I did find it.
He can afford it. He can afford it now. Go ahead.
So here's the story. So in Bolivia recently, what really happened in the news is the president, Evo Morales, was forced to resign by several groups, including the police and the military. He'd been the president for the last 14 years, and apparently there was concerns that the elections were getting manipulated for him to maintain his power. And so some are saying that Elon Musk may have had a influence in getting him out of the presidency. They're saying that he was American influence behind the change of power, and that part of it was apparently Musk had, supposedly it was a joke, but he had said before that he would coup whoever they want. And Morales tweeted that this was proof that Elon Musk had influence in him getting ousted as president of Bolivia.
I don't doubt that at all. I mean, Elon Musk is about to fucking crush all of the conglomerates for internet delivery when he flips the switch on all these satellites that he runs and wants free internet and all that kind of shit. You're talking about a total control on a web 2.0. He's the 5th richest man in the world, which means multi-billions at this point. And that's enough to pay oppositions off, pay off whoever you need to make sure that dude's out of there to serve some type of interest, whether it's mining or whatever he wants to do there, or the fact that he's now a full-time contracted government agent with SpaceX, and they can just have billions in slush funds where he's not even using his own money. America's CIA might go, let's just run it through all this shit investment-wise as a front. And Musk was all about no AI, none of that shit. Then what's he tweet out 2 months later? If you can't beat him, join him. And he fucking goes in on AI. He's in on fucking Neuralink and all this shit. Valiant Tor is, or Thor, if you want to look him up, in the 60s. A lot of people said he was an alien working for everything from JFK all the way to the Reagan administration, and that he was 900 to 1200 years old, and that he had a 1200 IQ or something ridiculous like that, and that he didn't age at all during that time. But Valiant Tor is an interesting conspiracy as an advisor that way, and I feel Valiant Tor and Elon Musk have a similar look to them. There's not a lot of up close pictures of Valiant Tor, maybe 2 or 3, but they definitely have something different about them, dude. So it'd be interesting. I'll definitely look into the conspiracy horseman with that. But, with all that being said, there's only one thing I really want, and that's the Monday morning monologue, baby.
All right. It's about time. Well, we had to get the serious talk out of the way, but
Always.
Sometimes good to let your hair down or shave your beard off. But either way, it's the Monday morning monologue, not the llama-log, the monologue. Ladies and gentlemen, on a recent edition of Chris Jericho's Saturday Night Special, Chris Jericho talked about Ryback and revealed that he once pitched for Ryback to be the one to defeat The Undertaker at WrestleMania and end the iconic winning streak, which to me sounds like Chris Jericho might have had a little too much of the bubbly. Reports came out recently that it was Devon Dudley who was the producer behind the Sheamus Jeff Hardy urine segment from SmackDown last month, which sounds to me like, Devon, you're in trouble, Buster. In a recent interview, Dolph Ziggler said that he was told in the WWE that he would never be a serious world title contender because of his hairstyle, which must have been upsetting. I mean, if it were me, I would have totally wigged out. AEW and Luchasaurus have produced an image of Luchasaurus's birth certificate proving that the AEW wrestler is over 65 million years old.
Wow.
AEW's Chris Jericho, he had to get in the news twice, apparently. He didn't seem happy with the reveal and responded on Twitter by writing, "That doesn't look real. I want to take that to a criminologist for inspection." Now, if all this leads to a Jeff Goldblum cameo to prove that the birth certificate is real, count me in. On the latest edition of 83 Weeks, Eric Bischoff addressed reports that he was always in catering during his most recent WWE stint, saying that he did spend a lot of time in catering, but the reason was because he did not have an office, and catering was the place where he could sit down at a large table and talk to people. He also said that Paul Heyman spent more time in catering than he did, but that Dave Meltzer didn't report it because he has a good relationship with Paul Heyman. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Bischoff has sown the seeds for a fat war, but Paul Heyman has yet to respond, I guess proving him to be the bigger man. Well, let's give him a break, though. I mean, apparently, look at him. He's had a lot on his plate. It's really sad, though. I think it could have been a great merchandising opportunity. I mean, Brock Lesnar has the T-shirts that says Suplex City, and I personally would be more than willing to buy one that said OB City. And last but not least, WWE Hall of Famer Mick Foley tweeted out a video recently directed at United States President and fellow WWE Hall of Famer Donald Trump, commenting on the COVID-19 testing issue that's taking place Mick Foley requested that President Trump ask his people to speed up the testing process for COVID-19, and not just for Mick Foley's sake, but also for mankind. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Monday morning monologue.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 delivery. Hilarious stuff as always. Brighten the mood here on your Monday locker room, guys. We love Man Beast's dad jokes for the first 10 minutes anyway. But yeah, good stuff all around. RBV, sorry there's not much left in catering for you after Paul Lee and Naya come through and whatnot, but we'll try and get you a little something for RBV Fitness, dude.
I say perfect spokespeople for RBV Fitness.
Oh shit, good times, great oldies here, you guys. That's always a great little feature, just like Strangler Steve doing his shout outs on Wednesday locker room. I think he might be back this week Wednesday, but I think it's the following Wednesday. As I spoke to him, he's still taking care of some biz. We miss Strangler Steve over there, but don't be afraid to hit him up at Old Bitter Steve on Twitter. Let him know you miss him. Let him know you like big titties. Let him know everything that's going on, because he loves to be in contact with Hamin Media Group members and that kind of feedback as they try and keep pushing this 2CW show. And I'm getting more and more angry by the day. They just announced Sami Callihan's going to defend his title. I said, like, hell he is. We'll see about that. So I don't know. They're trying to piss me off every day, Beast. Go ahead.
I mean, why shouldn't they have it? I think they should have it. I'll go. I'll be there.
I said no because I crushed 2CW in 2015, and I said there won't be any more wrestling here for you morons unless I say so. And 2CW thinks they can come back because WWE is the suck, because ROH is under investigation, because Impact's going to impact, and AEW can't use 2CW guys like they should based on being stars. And even the AEW top stars are excited to go back to 2CW, and that's why I want to crush their dreams right in front of their stupid little faces and say wrestling is dead, morons. I told you. 5 years later, here it is, and you can keep telling the lies to yourself, but Hamin will always say the truth. You all know.
Sounds to me like you need some more of that Russo Bro coffee this morning, Ben.
little spin off on Strangler Steve there. Last week I was on Twitter going back and forth, and he had tweeted something out, so I had him kind of on my mind. I was out for lunch. As I take a bite of my sandwich, I'm going through there, and I didn't even realize I did it. I blurted out, "I love big titties," and the bartender was standing right there next to me.
Guy or girl? Big titties?
It was a well-endowed female bartender.
I need to meet Strangler Steve at some point. And I'll say I have to feel for a guy named Strangler Steve right now during a global pandemic. Obviously, if you're someone going around calling yourself Strangler Steve, something that you love to do is strangle. But during a global pandemic, obviously with social distancing, strangling has to be kept to a minimum in order to keep safe. And I just have to imagine it's very frustrating for a man named Strangler Steve. So my heart really goes out to him right now, because I have to imagine in a global pandemic world, one called Strangler Steve.
He's as grizzled as they come, and actually you two guys are kind of cut from the same cloth, dude. I'll send you pictures of his old days. The arms on this fucking guy are just unbelievable, dude. Like Hogan size fucking double deuces, man. But he was a shorter guy, but I mean, he worked WWF against Jeff Jarrett, Yokozuna. I mean, like, did a lot of business on those Saturday morning shows when he was a young guy, trained by Killer Kowalski, and then as office as can be and running shows, running businesses, just like us, dude. Like making sure you're the lifeguard and there's 30 people drowning. Like, who do you save? Like in 2CW as an agent, that's exactly what he was. Marketer, the whole thing, man, and on the booking staff. So definitely would like to hear you guys do a couple things. He said the same thing, how he enjoys your opinions as well. And that's just something we got to hook up when he gets back here at Hamin Media Group when he handles his business, dude. But awesome opinions all the way around. And I like when Strangler gets fucking hot as hell and he gets fired up. He's definitely a Northeastern wrestling fucking guy who's not afraid to, once he gets on a tirade like me, it starts going, it makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. So we miss him, man, but he'll be back soon enough. Obviously a mainstay here at Hamin Media Group and 2CW, so I'm gonna have to crush his dreams.
hates that TCW, will not stop trying to.
You morons, trades, all of you stupid idiots trying to get their 2CW tickets ahead of time, sell out the front row, only for no refunds because I told you, and I can't wait to spit in all of your stupid faces online, idiots. Good times.
The hacker's hot this morning.
No sleep, never gonna get it. RBV, take us away with the headlines, man. What's news, bro?
Let's keep it hot. We got the headlines. I do want to mention a lot of what we're going to talk about this morning. It comes directly from the Hamin Media discussion group on Facebook. So if you're already not a member over there, make sure you're heading on over to Facebook. Just search for it, the Hamin Media discussion group. You can get in with all the different chat threads we got going on. So many of our Hamin Media Group personalities are regularly involved over there, and just some other, just
we're even doing baseball right now. The William Alcia, a huge Yankees fan, not just doing wrestling watch-alongs, but if you're into the 60-game MLB season, jump in there too, guys.
We've got it all. We got sports, MMA, pro wrestling, political satire, conspiracy, everything. Anything you get on our platforms that we're chatting it up about over there in the Hamin Media discussion group. But Ben, you're talking about tirades. Let's talk about Adam Cole as he flies off the handle during a recent visit to the Pat McAfee podcast. The two were, to kind of sum up what had happened here, the two are going kind of back and forth. They're playing tit for tat with each other. Cole kind of gets it going by taking a shot at McAfee being really nothing more than a punter. Is to kind of take him off his high horse there. McAfee comes back with Cole's success in WWE NXT is mainly attributed to his involvement with the Undisputed Era, how they have carried him. And it ultimately, this thing comes to a head. Everything erupts when McAfee brings up Cole's, less than stellar stature. Says that he's a little bit on the small side. Cole comes firing out of his seat across the studio there, and essentially tells McAfee that he's tired of his fucking shit. In the process, he pushes away one of the other staff members before he storms off, says that he deserves better than this. He gave his time away from his family to come be on the Pat McAfee show. This entire thing, it was quite hilarious, and it's got the internet buzzing. If you guys got to see the video on this thing yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. As a work shoot, it was good, dude. This is where they need to be. They need to be using their secondary properties that are TVMA to make their guys look real instead of bay and all that shit. Like, this is the first time you really give a fuck about what Adam Cole says, even though you knew it was kind of a work shoot. What I would have done right out of the gate, even though it wouldn't have been in the script, you really want to compare. It's not, it's not about the size or whatever. I said, you think I'm only a fucking punter or kicker? Let's compare paychecks and see who the fuck was more over, who had a contract, who had, a players union. And the fact, to be honest with you, McAfee would beat the fuck out of Adam Cole in a shoot with ease. Like, I don't care how good of a pro wrestler Adam Cole is. He would get owned by McAfee in 2 seconds, dude. I think in a shoot. But I liked Adam Cole going off here, dude. I like the fuck you, Napoleon complex. You want to go there, bitch, and all that shit. I'm the champ, longest one. But McAfee was, an MVP and one of the best at what he did too. So
he was named the punter of a decade. So he was named the player of his position for that decade there. Played on this great Colts team.
You can do, like, here's the problem. McAfee you have to pay this off. We've got heat. We've got something real. Now, McAfee either has to get somebody to fight for him, which will look fucking stupid because he's a pro athlete, or he has to train and Adam Cole has to carry him to something, or Adam Cole gets involved. Here's what I would do. Adam Cole gets involved in a primetime feud and McAfee slides in and fucking punts him in the balls from behind. Have a banana cup on so you can sell it and not really get your nuts kicked, but it's got to look fucking real. And you can't do the punt in the head because Randy Orton's doing that. So the heat is fucking punting him in the balls from behind as payback. Or he just gets beaten. He's on the sell up from something. You slide in, he turns around, and you do it face to face. But I like from behind would be way fucking better and more believable if he kicked him right in the nuts from behind. Aside from that, I don't think you can do a real payoff here. But even then, if McAfee gets back over on him, then what? So then he gets heat on his nuts or something like that. Then where you go? Then you do have to have a match where Cole goes over on McAfee, and I don't know if that's the right TV. You know what I mean, or what it is. Beast, what are you thinking out of this?
Give me 1 second here. I'm sorry, I had an issue pop up all of a sudden. I got to take
Not
care
a problem. Not a problem. Dude.
I like how you mentioned, Ben, there that this is the right use of cross promotion, which we regularly don't see out of WWE. They want to just live inside their own little universe. I think you need more of this. And this is how, as we regularly every week, what's, the hottest topic every week, we're talking about numbers and the serious decline and how fast they're dropping. So on the flip side, when we kind of mock them for what they're losing, we neglect to talk about what do they need to do to start begin growing those numbers. And this is exactly it, right? Is this crossover effort.
Sure.
Which you really helped. They would have done a lot more when they did join the Fox family. They came out of the gate semi-strong with it, but it really seemed to lose steam where, why aren't they more present on NFL sidelines or whatever there potentially could be used for during, going into this COVID season?
Or who do they send to the NFL? You got Bray Wyatt, and you're not doing sideline stuff with Bray. He's just taking pictures and not getting max value of that Fox, relationship. But here, the fact that it's NXT, it's more cutting edge, it's a little more outside the bubble, and you don't get to hear "fuck you" and shit like that. And even on indie shows, most of them, everyone's like, no swearing, which I get it. There's kids at the show, but like in this world, you listen to any podcast I've ever done, plus being a Rip Rogers guy, you go for the fuck record and cocksucker. And I try not to because it hurts a lot of our clips. But, when I get tuned up, I think swearing is just an extension of artistry, and all that Puritan language shit is held over from whatever the Quaker era of don't swear, don't tell me what to do with my words. That makes me want to swear more. So that's part of this that really sells it. I just don't see where the payoff's going.
Well, here's the thing is Pat McAfee, he is a longtime wrestling fan, and he has had, I don't know how extensive he's trained. So before I put it over like he's going to, surprise everyone, he has had an opportunity to go up and train with Rip in doing some private sessions up in Indianapolis, just because Pat McAfee's a wrestling fan and wanted to learn the art of wrestling. And that was prior to him going into the WWE. In fact, he even came down to OVW a couple times.
He got chopped by Lilas, so he's half-ass official.
Right. So I mean, so I don't know again how extensively he has trained, but I do think Pat McAfee could have a passable match. Adam Cole could kick his ass and pile drive him, and I mean that could lead to some interest from even fans that aren't necessarily your casual wrestling fans, your everyday people who might be like, oh, Pat McAfee from the Colts, he's in a wrestling match. I'll check this out. You know what I mean? So I think that's the opportunity. Is it's going to lead to probably something at the Takeover 30 between them, and I'm fine with that. I think they can have a good little match if done correctly. But I think if based on Adam Cole, it's obviously been around, and if Pat McAfee has already at least had minimal amount of training, and I could say someone that has had good matches with people that have had no training, I think that it's definitely possible.
If this match,
I've had matches with people with training.
If this match and the payoff comes at a takeover, how do you present this with Adam Cole being such a darling to that audience who will likely perceive McAfee as this complete outsider? But as you're mentioning there, Ben and Beast, he's going to be that selling point to draw outside eyes in here. Holy crap, Pat McAfee, what a personality, former NFL star, crossing over into wrestling. How do you present this thing?
Well, Adam Cole, even though he's like the cool guy champ, he's obviously the heel here. So, does he need more heat to go over strong on McAfee? There's got to be a payoff. I forgot that he did train with Rip, so he can pull off something in 4 to 5 minutes, and he's a fucking pro athlete. So it should be able to, with Adam Cole leading him, to be able to look somewhat believable. But then are they going to work 50-50 after he insults his size and shit? Like, it's wherever we're going to go to pay that shit off. I just hope they don't shotgun it and that they do 2 or 3 more weeks where they really build this into something don't take it from the outside of what it is with the fuck you scene and the storm out, then bring it into wrestling and everybody's doing like he comes out and he's doing entrances and shit like that, dude. Like if this is real heat, let's do it like these guys really do hate each other now and some shit's going down. And I would even get a fucking Michael Cole rib in there where McAfee comes storming in after he hits something. And you might split the business here, but he fucking flips off Cole, or even Cole's backstage and he pie faces and pushes down Cole from that heat that they had where Cole tried to stooge him off at WrestleMania and get over off of the tuxedo with short shit. If you're going to make it real and tell somebody to fuck off and fuck you, then let's do it to everybody he's got heat with, right? You know what I mean? And maybe even we get a little something more out of Michael Cole, that way where he has something to do with Adam Cole. His nephew. Maybe they were related the whole time. Yeah. I know.
I also wonder if you could play up almost like a work shooters type deal. Like, what if they sent out a press release, say today, Pat McAfee severs ties with World Wrestling Entertainment, and say, based on what happened, he's done with this shit. Adam Cole, as a repercussion, is then quote unquote pulled from NXT television, but you still have the rest of the Undisputed Era, and you could have them even drop sidelines over, BS shit. As in, they're the ones getting worked over, and it's, the Adam Cole should be the one punished. You know what I mean? And almost play that jab and play it up on Twitter and social media into a bigger thing, and then kind of organically see where that goes and take it from there.
I like that, dude. But this was an interesting thing that stuck out this week, no doubt about it.
Another little headline that very of interest, especially to us here. Good partners with us and friends of the Hamin Media Group. On a recent Twitch stream, AJ Styles shared his thoughts on Mr. Vince Russo and Dixie Carter. AJ had to say, Vince Russo, as a person, I love the guy. We butted heads as far as him writing, even in TNA. But I realized when we butted heads, it was because he was getting things from Dixie the whole time. It must have been very difficult to work with this woman who has no idea how wrestling works and wanted everything to be done to do it. Let's see, he gets a little essentially going on to say that everything Dixie pushed for in TNA, that direction, essentially when the fans wanted something different, just absolutely came off as WWE light. So AJ kind of going the bat there for Mr. Russo, and really again, as over the last couple of years, he's repeated really a lot of heat towards Dixie there, just that she had no idea what she was doing there, just kind of spending daddy's money and absolutely killed any momentum and possibility potential for what that company could have been today.
Sounds like another situation we got set up right now. I mean, history's going to repeat itself. Marks are going to mark and come out of the woodwork, and workers are going to shark and fucking take bites out of them. And they're going to hang in there for as long as they can to milk this cow the best way we know how, and until it's dry. Even if her ideas are shit, the money pipeline, well, sometimes it was there. Plenty of people got paid later, not at all. I know I had to threaten to sue. So
I'll say that I could understand as a performer, especially the tenure that AJ had with Teenage Impact, that I'm sure seeing a lot of stuff politically, it probably was incredibly frustrating. And I'm sure all that pent up anger has just caused him to feel this way. I would say, looking at the other side of it, as you alluded to, I don't think Dixie went in this thinking I'm just going to spend my dad's money. And, I don't think she went in this thinking I'm just going to do all of these poor business decisions. I think she went in thinking she's going to start or be a part of the wrestling business, and she's going to grow this company from the ground up. And unfortunately, people got in her ear and manipulated her into believing certain things that weren't best for business. And unfortunately, that led to some decisions that caused guys like AJ and some of their other long-term performers to be incredibly frustrated with the company on the business side of things. So I'm not saying that she's innocent, but I'm saying at the same time, she made these decisions based off a false narrative that she believed to be true.
But let's get back to the of what it really is and why it's blowing up in Russo brand fan groups and things like that. Is AJ putting over Russo? And let's talk about everybody who tries to Mark Boy fans who think they can bury Russo or Alvarez or Meltzer or any of these idiots that they love AJ Styles. They love all these fucking guys. And all these guys come out and say, what about Russo? Hell of a nice guy. Love working with him. Easy to work with. Some of his creative I didn't understand or whatever, but that's because they might not see the vision, dude, of where things need to go and be different than the other. And then it gets shit on. And Russo tries to do other good business, like bring in Bruce because his wife is sick. And within a week, he's fucking out politicked. And now he's out of nowhere Russo's boss, and like the scumbag stuff that she could easily be manipulated and mind controlled for, where the rest of us are trying to do good business all the time for each other, and the workers know that. And then the office politics from Bischoff, Bruce, Jarrett, all get fucking mixed in there. And it's like, Hogan, why the fuck are we arguing over some stupid wrestling when we could be getting guys over and doing something different outside the box? We have the opportunity to, but it's the same old shitbags who are still in this industry clocking a fucking $500,000 paycheck, writing two shows that are at the lowest rated of all time. They still leech their way into these spots. It's ridiculous. Tuttle's asked, is this the push for WWE to hire Russo? Maybe. I mean, I think the scapegoats are done, right? So if Bruce goes, then who else is left? Is it going to be on Vince? Is Stephanie and Game going to come back and we're going to start this whole process over again until Vince dies of scapegoating? Or are you really going to let go of the fucking steering wheel and put it back in the hands of somebody who can try and right the ship? I submit at this time, I don't think the ship can be righted anymore, dude. Even if it was Russo every day, every week, like anything short of fucking a full reset is fucked at this point. Like, how do you gain? There's no way you can go from a 1.6 on Raw and get that back to a 3.0 in a year's time with wrestling creative. Short of having Mike Tyson, you'd have to have superstars from every fucking walk of sports and entertainment, from NASCAR to The Rock and Hollywood shit. Austin comes back and does something with somebody like Mike Tyson to get all, like, you have to fucking do all that to maybe get it to a 2.1 again. Week in, week out consistency, dude. And there's nobody there who can pull that shit off right now. Nobody.
So Ben, go ahead, B. I was going to say, I was going to ask Ben, Can you speak towards, and I'm familiar with this, maybe Mr. Russo has spoken openly about this and you can share the story with us, but I imagine, I mean, the intense pressure that he was under creatively when he's responsible for arguably the greatest era in professional wrestling. You know, he's the creative mind behind that. The pressures of when he transitions first to WCW to, I mean, because there is an urgency to be something different, something new and unique, but you're still going to be compared to the Attitude Era. And then even so, when he goes to TNA at the time, I mean, he has to evolve that game as well and then be an alternative to what people expect from WWE. What kind of pressures did he face there? I mean, I could just imagine.
Well, after he got his throat cut, after he got his throat cut by Bruce and he left, then he had to be, and it's the Bischoff era. He's a secret consultant. Dixie hires him on the side, but those guys can't know that he's sliding her ideas, and now Dixie's got to pitch Russo ideas, like, you know, to Bischoff and get it over while Brooke Hogan is your goddamn GM and shit like this. Like, the nepotism running wild, brother. It's fucking crazy. You know, and this guy, again, is just wanting to do good creative business and not deal with the scumbags who've been in this industry at the top. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy Brother Love and all that shit. I loved that shit growing up. But those guys are the ones who will fucking stab you in the back for the spot, even when you're trying to help them to come in. And that was like kind of the final straw of them revealing their colors, true colors. And even WCW with Bischoff and Russo, you know, not being able to work creatively because Bischoff is a great businessman. He's not a great creative. You know what I mean? He just doesn't know how to put things together that way. He knows how to market, get into new markets, and really push the show and push other people's buttons. That's good stuff for TV. but they're not in that collaborative mindset effort. It's all about what's he doing? Fuck that. I'm going to take my spot and da-da-da. Where when me and Man Beast work or me and Strangler Steve work, you know, it's always a group effort. And let me punch this up, or what do you think about this? And, oh, that's awesome. I get excited, and that can lead to this. Not with them, dude. It's all some fucking voodoo doll shit all the time. Smile in your face, say yeah, and then turn right around and undermine you any which way they fucking can to make sure you're gone, so they have more power and their spots protected. It's got nothing to do with making the best show for the fans, nothing to do with making the best show to get guys over and make stars. It's all about me, my spot. Yes to the fucking politics, to saying yes to whatever stupid fucking Vince McMahon 74-year-old out of touch idea is thrown your way. Listen to Master Shoot, Truth and Comedy. Like it's way overdone satire wise, but sometimes it's right on the money of the ridiculousness of the conversations they must be having. And the dude's making $500,000 a year with how many stock options, bro? It's disgusting. It really turns my stomach.
The thing is in order to thrive as a business, you have to look at your business almost like its own culture, almost like its own slice of society. If you look back at when we were cave people and we literally were living to survive, it wasn't until we learned how to come together as groups and we said, okay, you all are going to go hunt the animals, we're going to cook, or we're going to watch the kids. And eventually you learn that people have certain roles and different strengths, and you learn to trust each other. And what I'm getting to is over time, we started to learn as we learned to work together, we're way more powerful than when we're trying to fight each other. Now, as these groups started to grow, then people started to fight over their own piece of property or their own piece of land and whatnot. But it seems like the more that societies and cultures can learn to integrate and work together, just as businesses can, the more that can be done, not only for that business and for the people that work within it, but for the people that work in that industry. And so that's where, to that point, WWE is the trendsetter. They are the flagship. They are the measuring stick, proverbially, because they've really been the driving force of professional wrestling for the better part of the last 20, 30 years. So they are the ones that have to make that conscious choice to want to bring everybody up and work together in order to get through this. And unfortunately, I just don't foresee them coming to that conclusion and figuring that out. And that's really the saddest part of all of this.
It will take Vince McMahon's death to end this and really be able to do a reset. How far are they going to drive it down before that happens? We'll see, because there's no uptick in sight, dude. There really isn't. It's a 20-year experiment, and you go look at the chart, and it's decline. Maybe a little bump during the CM Punk era, but decline, man. And they know it, and they're doing insider trading off of it, and selling off stocks 8 days before the Q2 call, and it's blatant. And again, it's the robber barons who are billionaires who can do whatever they want, and they don't give a damn about us, as Michael Jackson said.
You had that available way too quick.
That's the Roadcaster Pro, bro.
For the
Yes,
for companies
now.
for companies like AEW down to the indies, though, when we regularly hear that we need alternatives to WWE, we need something that looks different. For all those other companies, how important is it, and how do you even approach the strategies in balancing? Because as humans and consumers, familiarity rules. And a lot of people, when you say wrestling, they immediately think what they see in WWE. How do you balance keeping those familiarities and being something as an alternative for those different levels of promotions?
I don't think they can at this point. They're so out of touch. I mean, look at people who are coming out. AJ shooting on Hamin. Not a good look from the guy who's probably one of your best and biggest stars.
If you're another company and how you approach fans,
okay,
every independent show has like a Money in the Bank, their own,
right?
Their own version of it. So how do you give an alternative, but still remain keeping those familiar aspects of professional wrestling that WWE's made so familiar?
Well, you keep your wrestling is wrestling. Just because it's WWE with bright lights, big city, doesn't mean shit. ECW turned off the lights and had a spotlight, or they would have just all the fans so you could see them. It's just a different look of how you want to present it. What is essential is building characters and storylines, not working 50-50. Brian Cage, Lance Archer, and Brody Lee are dead in the water. 3 guys who are $20 million properties, and they fucked them up in less than 2 to 3 months' time, bro, because they didn't book them the right way, not only in WWE or Impact, which they absolutely didn't. Now you think here's the new open field where these guys get a fresh start, and every one of them gets beat in their first time out. All 3 of those guys are monsters, bigger than everybody on the roster. They should all be undefeated right now, all coming into the top of the mountain of who's going to be the best big man and take this shit over in wrestling wise. And people, nope, none of them are that at this point. They can't even do, and there's your Dixie part 2 scenario, right? What they call him, Jacksonville Dixie. That's about as fucking dead on as you can be. Where's he putting his money? On Orange Cassidy. Okay, yeah, good moves, Briz. The whole way around when they've buried those guys, and those guys didn't take up for their own business either. And I got a lot of respect for all 3 of them, but that they're dead in the water as a property. You take those guys, Brody come back to 2CW, but he's not gonna because I crushed the show. Yada yada. Say 2CW went on and Brody could work them. You know how many matches Brody would lose the first 3 years? Zero. We would not fuck. I would that we would start making him in the underground again into Bruiser Brody, the next fucking generation, with the WWE shit, with whatever, and he would become a top star in the indies, and then they would see that and use him right. We did the same thing with Kevin Steen. Ring of Honor couldn't do fuck all with Steen. The only thing they did that was even half entertaining was the shoots with Cornette back and forth. We put him in there with Eddie Edwards. We put him in there with Alex Shelley. We put him in there with Terry Funk and our local guys, Jason Axe, to get it over, to make the belt, to have them tag with guys to help make guys. They have no idea what they're doing half of the time in these big feds just because they're on TV. When it comes to storytelling and getting a guy over, there is an essential way to do it. And that builds your show, builds your business, shines your locker room, shines your belt, and sells merch and fucking tickets. There's people who know how to do it, and then there's dirtbags who are just going to do copy paste of the same broken WWE bullshit model, and they wonder why the industry's fucked. Or there's indie show guys who are promoters who will run 3.5, 4 hour shows, book 11, 12 matches because they think they're Vince. And by the time they get to their main event, crowd's at half. All their business is bullshit at this point because who gives a fuck? I'm not sitting in an indie show for 4 hours. There's only a few select guys in this biz in my generation, Man Beast, our generation, who know how to book a show long-term, book for TV, book to get guys over, book to make new stars and enhancement talent and sub storylines off of those losses. Wins and losses matter, they say. Yeah, not just in like, what's my record? The loss for a guy is a catalyst into a whole new storyline for him. It's not about, he's 16-1. Who gives a fuck? That one can be the story that makes us want to go. That's what wrestling is. It's not about matches and fake records and that shit. It's about taking you on a journey of this tribal shit, that these campfire stories we've been telling since the beginning of time, of heroes, villains, hot chicks, brothers stabbing each other in the back, fathers trying to kill their sons, mothers, trying to take care of people and things like that. Like, all those are the stories that as human beings, we are here to see. We back that up with the violence and the wrestling as the payoff. And if you can't tell those stories, then you're never going to win. You're never going to have a product that anybody gives a shit about, dude. That's just the truth of it. I know that's long-winded, but that's really what – there's no excuse of like WWE does Money in the Bank, so every indie has to do their own Money in the Skank. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that at all, dude.
I don't think I can add on to that. Hamin was on a roll there. I'm not sure I can say it any more efficiently.
Am I missing anything there and getting guys over, you know?
Well, Beast, we'll kick it to you first after this next headline because this ties in perfectly. On a recent episode of Grillin' JR, Jim Ross brought up that the AEW stars simply are not listening to the rules. This has caused them to nix the idea of even having tag ropes included inside the tag division. JR want to say the issue is not everybody listens. They think that some things suck. We don't have tag ropes anymore because some of our crew thinks it's lame. I think it's bullshit. Heels need rules to break. You need shortcuts to gain unfair advantages. It's just common sense. It's basic human instincts. The heels, when they get out and wrestle, they cheat. It's never changed. It's not going to change. He goes on to say about some of the AEW talents, most of them listen and are appreciative. I can tell when their eyes go off topic. If I'm talking to them and they're not looking me directly in the eye, they're not listening. So why should I waste my breath? That's coming from JR about not all of them, but a handful of the younger AEW talents.
It's really is a shame because JR is really right on the money with the stuff that he's saying. And it's actually, to me, that concerns me greatly about, we talked about the culture and environment of a company and how important that is. That worries me significantly about the culture of the company, because if they are trying to lay down mandates saying, hey, we're going to follow these rules and the talent isn't respecting that, what kind of precedent does that set? To me, that's a slippery slope. If they aren't going to listen to that, what else aren't they going to listen to if they decide it's something that they just don't want to do or it's not cool? To me, that's the time when as a company, you have to double down and say, no, we are going to enforce the rules. You're going to follow them, or the referee is going to count you out or pin you or disqualify. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. And that's where, as a promoter, you have to be the one to lay the foot down and say, no, we're doing things this way. If you don't want to do things this way, that is fine. There are other companies you can try to work for. You know what I mean? And that's where I feel like you have to set that precedent as a company. And just to JR's point, it only helps them to tell the stories they are trying to tell and to try to get the heel some actual heat in a match, so that way people care to see the baby faces later get their comeuppance and get their big moment of comeuppance at the big pay-per-view or show that they're building towards, and make it mean that much more. But no, they're going to bow down to the talent and let them set the precedent for what the company does going forward. I feel like, I could be wrong, but I'm getting a sense of deja vu, like we've seen this in other big companies before, and it did not quite work out like they would have liked it to. You know what I mean?
Who the fuck is Jim Ross to give anybody advice? These fucking spoiled brats. And that's it, dude. The fact that if Jim Ross comes up to you in the locker room and has taken an interest in you, or is maybe even scolding you, what do, man, Beast?
You shut the hell up and listen.
Shut the fuck up. You put your hands behind your back and go, yes, sir. And you look right at him and you take every nugget of what's coming out of his mouth. And if you don't understand, then you ask a question as humbly as possible and give him the respect he absolutely deserves. I've heard about this. I've heard about not just one or two guys, but multiple guys going to con and getting their business changed in the matches so they look stronger, and they fucking fuck up the whole business of the show, and he changes it. There's little cliques over there already of dudes who are obviously doing this. And now if you have Jim Ross saying it out loud, not a good look, dude, because he's having to – Ross wouldn't break kayfabe unless he's so frustrated because nobody's listening to him. And if you're in – look at the AEW, I don't give a shit who it is on there. You know, if Ross is talking to you, you shut the fuck up and you shut the fuck up and you listen. And then you go and apply. And even if you were the ones who said you didn't want to have tag ropes, you humble yourself and go, I see where I went wrong. We need tag ropes now. Please, I'm here to be part of the solution, not going to business for myself. And, dude, you can't cheat. Well, where goes our fake tags and shit like that is heels. Okay, so oh, that's the story we're telling in the ring dictates who the baby and the heel is. Yeah, see how good that works out for you every week, right? Off of the Disco and Cody stuff. Like,
I had that headline ready to go here.
And I think you talk about how to differentiate yourself as a company. AEW can differentiate themselves as the company that, hey, we enforce the rules here. This isn't going to be like the referees are. You know what I mean? You're going to have.
How about the referees? The referees are either rotten when they're blind, or it's the Aubrey chick who's way overselling and going into business for herself.
Yeah.
Like, just way too much. And they even had to have her tone it down. And she did. But still, damage was done out of the gate, where even the refs want to get themselves over as a character, because post-show, the tape trader masturbators are going, love you, Aubrey, and shit like that. Good. I'm glad you do. But that doesn't mean that if she's a character now, she's taken away from the matches. These are the things, like all the small things where a JR looks at a Shivani and goes, save your money, because this shit ain't going to be around for long. Get all the money from these fucking marks you can. And, because that's it. If they're not going to listen to them and they're all going to politic for their own little business and ruin the show over and over again. And now Omega's not over. The Bucks aren't over. Pentagon and Phoenix aren't over. Brody Lee's not over. Brian Cage not over. Lance Archer not over. Fuck the Revival, definitely not over. Now,
to be fair, to play devil's advocate, didn't they not get a really good rating last week? I heard
800,000 is a good rating. They started in.
I thought they crossed the million. I thought they went over.
Tony Khan took to social media and was bragging that in the transition between hour 1 and hour 2, like in that segment, they peaked at over 1 mil, but it immediately, before they went into that last hour, it dropped off.
What was their viewership what was their viewership in October?
I have no idea.
1.4 million. Where are they at on average now? 700 to 800,000. In 10 months, they've lost half their audience. I don't give a fuck how the analytics guy wants to juke the numbers with Demo God 18 to 49. I like that. That's funny. That's smart stuff. But that's just a cover. That's smoke screen where you're going, we're better than NXT. NXT is a developmental. It is OVW. It is students. It is supposed to be that. And they put it up there to like, you're bragging that you're beating the wrestling school instead of stepping up to Raw if you wanted to. Why? Because you can't hit the numbers that way. So they might try and control the conversation, but they're not fooling anybody except their super loyalist Mark fans when it comes to that shit. Because at the end of the day, 1.4 million down to 700,000 is a 50% loss in business. Now go compound that with the fact that you're not touring at all and making any money that way. There's no new real big merch sales coming out. And even your audience went against your own pro wrestling tees for some Black Lives Matter bullshit. Shows how weak sauce they are as well. And then all the guys you spent top dollar for, you're not getting over and getting anything really back or making anything off of them. What do you expect to happen? Where do you think things are going to go? Look at the whole Dixie thing over and over again. 5 years from now, it will be Matt Jackson or Kenny Omega saying the same thing that fucking AJ is saying right now on the sheets, almost verbatim.
Beast, did you get to see the exchange between Disco and Cody on Twitter?
I did not, but could I say real quick before we get on to that, only because I want to finish this point back to when Ben and I were in DCW, Rip Rogers made us enforce the rules, and I would love to see a company do that, at least from refereeing standpoint, because imagine it really would be a mechanism by which the heels could get more heat. So, for instance, for tag team matches, both feet have to be on the apron. You have to have one hand on the tag rope. You have to have hand-to-hand contact in order to make the tag. None of this forearm or leg or other BS. It has to be over the top rope, not through the middle. We actually even had a match on DCW, I think one of the very first episodes, or I think it was it might not have been the first episode, but I believe it was the first tag team match that was on DCW. They had the heels try to do tags all the wrong ways in order to educate the audience on, hey, on the other wrestling shows, this might count, but here the rules matter. And as you just saw, as the heels tried to make the tag inappropriately, the rules are going to be enforced. And our referees were encouraged if guys were in longer than a 5 count or they didn't obey the referee, that was a DQ and you went with it. And that's how you also, in a sense, although it's not ideal for booking purposes, you still can create organic stories in that way. You take something that was not meant to happen, but because it did happen legitimately, you can now turn that into a real story. And so to that end, that's the soapbox I just wanted to get on first.
This actually plays into this as you're talking about the fundamentals of professional wrestling and good guys and villains. So Disco had asked a simple question. Is Cody Rhodes a heel? This is like an old school angle where a list of worthy contenders, where you have a list of worthy contenders and they're just a bunch of indie workers that don't even work for the company, to which Cody replies, I'm neither. I'm a competitor and a reigning champion. Tired old tropes are even more insulting to the viewer considering I've been on TV since I was 20. It ain't black and white. It hasn't been in forever. Circumstances of the match dictate who we cheer for. It's a beautiful thing. And this isn't the first time that he's spoken about this. Even before the launch of AEW, one of the first, kind of points he was trying to hammer home, that they wanted to reinvent that wheel, that they're just going to present, I don't want to say personas and characters because we don't get that so much, but they're going to give us a talent, and it is up to the individual fans to perceive and receive them however they want.
I don't think Cody's necessarily in the wrong in what he's saying here. I absolutely believe it's all about the story and the situation, and that's where you have someone that's a monster heel, but then you have someone that's garnering a lot of heat somewhere else on the roster, and then that monster heel steps up to the guy that's running his mouth. All of a sudden, your monster heel is your top baby face. So and that's the advice I always gave all the wrestlers at OVW when they say, "Well, am I a baby face or am I a heel?" I'd say, "You're you. You're your character. You play your character to the height that you can possibly play it." So that now to that end, you also have to recognize where within the context of that story, in this part of it, am I getting heat or am I getting over? So it's the concepts of being a babyface in part of the story or being the heel in part of the story still are relevant, but as the character itself, I agree with Cody here. Stone Cold Steve Austin is a good example of that. Someone that was just stone cold. People say he was a heel that got over as a babyface. No, he was not. He was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that's why he got over. And so to Cody's end, that does make sense. But you also, as a booker, have to book stories in a manner to where people are either getting heat or people are getting over. And unfortunately, if the lines are blurred and you really can't tell if someone you're supposed to like or not like, that's where you have people. They don't have that visceral emotion to really want to get behind the story as much. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think, again, what's important, though, is that they need to realize in the moment what their position is. To me, you regularly see one of the things that stands out really on AEW television, and especially with Sonny and Janela, where they're working as the under babies, but they're the ones that are manipulating the system and getting the cheap shots in. You got Sonny coming in to hit top rope maneuvers on the heel.
Oh, so bad. It's so bad.
They confuse those situations.
So bad, dude. Like, I get what Beast is saying, and it doesn't play in Twitter as much of what Cody's doing, but that's bullshit to me because Cody's a babyface. He's a third generation or second generation son of Dusty, hot wife, has competitive matches, doesn't really get heel heat on people unless it's in the hardcore thing, and he has to. So you can say he's not, but he's neutral good if you're talking on Dungeons and Dragons level. He's neutral good, championship defender, competitive match. Based on that alone, he's not going out there and getting heel heat. Cody's not fish hooking dudes out of the gate and fucking doing meat chop and shit like that on guys. So he is a baby face. So just the fact that they're not playing it up in a big baby Cody's the hero storyline, the circumstances do direct that. But your point of Janela and Sonny Kiss was so fucked up and wrong. Not like your point, but like that spot goes to highlight how that psychology is completely wrong. You have Lance Archer, the fucking murder hawk killer, fighting against Janela, he's fighting really 60-40 when he should have beat Janela 90-10 clean. And then fucking while he's down in the spot and the babies are up, Jake Roberts, the heel manager, does a jump up, looking right at his guy, drawing the ref while Janela goes up. So now Jake Roberts is doing the heel draw for the babies to get their shit in, heel heat wise. Babies doing heel heat is absolutely fucking wrong. Well, I got excited. I thought, well, maybe he's going to go up and Archer's going to get the boot up or catch him, you know, and goozle him while he's up there. Nope, gets his shit in. Then the other baby face behind the referee's back while Jake the Snake Roberts, heel manager, is drawing him. So now Jake is in on it. He must be working for Janela and Sonny Kiss because he's helping beat his own fucking guy instead of jumping down or turning the ref around and going, look what the fuck they're doing. Sonny Kiss goes up and get her shit in on him as well. And then they roll out and fucking now your monster's just been buried by the odd couple, half gay scumbag gimmick. And nobody got heat. And it was all thanks to Jake Roberts jumping up and fucking over his own guy. What the fuck, dude? The Jake Roberts should right there in the back go, nah, we're not doing it that way. No. That's not the spot. And you're going to bury my guy. And, you know, if you want to get them over, it's with empathy and having my guy kill the little dirtbag guy and then have the good looking black chick come in and check on him afterwards. That's how you're going to get that guy over and tell their story. And my guy needs heat going forward. Nope. They run the fucking train on Murder Hawk. And now he's the murdered canary. Bro, it's bad. It's fucking bad. It's real bad. So that excuse of like whatever, that might work for Cody as the Stone Cold. But if you don't listen to JR, if you don't go back to telling the right stories, if you don't say, Tony Khan, I've said this, needs a big brother, whether it's me, whoever, Josh, to grab him by the collar, pull him in a room and go, you have to stop bending your will to what these wrestlers come into your office and want, because that is what's happening, and your show is rocked because of that, bro. It's rocked.
And that's not taking away from the talent of the guys that are trying to politic. But the thing is, if you're a talent, you should not have influence in creative. And if you're in creative, you should not be a talent. That should just be the way it is. You're either one or the other. And unfortunately, it's not that way. And that's when things like this happen.
How dare you talk about executive vice presidents that way? All of them with I'm sure everybody who's an executive vice president there has a master's in business degree, and they've really earned it. They put in the time coming up, you know, as a creative director, as a marketing director, you know, they've all really had those 20-year careers to get to that executive vice president spot. So I'm sure everybody knows what they're doing. I mean, I'm sure their resume on LinkedIn will back that up.
I can taste the sarcasm.
Yeah, big time.
Gentlemen, as we're up against the clock here, let's it's wrestling related, but we'll switch gears a little bit. Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. exhibition fight is set for September 12th from California. A little note on the fight here. Each competitor has been told to avoid going for knockout shots. This is coming from the Athletic Commission there in California. They're going to spar hard, but shouldn't be going for a knockout. Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. were both told not to attempt the KO move or KO punch by the chief Athletic Commission assistant. The fans should be expecting one hell of a fight here, but nothing too violent.
They should be expecting it, but they just fucked the whole fucking fight right there. What an asshole. What a total asshole, dude. Let that guy keep that kayfabe and let him go that way. You don't, when you're billboarding a fight, you don't go, but they're not going to try and knock each other out. The whole fucking world, every barber shop in every city is talking about, Mike going to fuck that mother, Roy dead. You watch the training side by side. Tyson is a fucking animal still, bro. Not that Roy Jones Jr. doesn't have the dip and dive and the dance and all that shit. That don't mean nothing when Iron Mike unloads on your liver with that body hook and then hook to the head combo or the fucking bring you in uppercut, dude. There is no like, let's take some off of it. Dude, people want to see Roy Jones Jr. get knocked out in the second round by a Mike Tyson that's vicious. This athletic commission dude is a straight up stupid asshole who doesn't know how to book and like how to promote or book anything, dude. He just guaranteed 10 to 20% less buys, and that fight will be stolen by that statement alone. That mother, if Mike Tyson can knock out anybody, it should be that motherfucker. That's what I want to see is Mike Tyson show up to that guy's house and clean his clock on the fucking front lawn now. Stupid asshole.
And the thing is, it hurts the commission too, because they get a percentage of the tax. I mean, it's part of the tax that the promotion has to pay to run the event, and now getting less money on the gate or on the buy rate, they're taking in less money now. So it's ridiculous. Because I was thinking both ways, but my first thought was, well, that's certainly going to affect the buy rate. But I'll say, as a healthcare professional, I was like, well, I can appreciate that, but you're right. It's not something they should have necessarily stooged off prior to the fight.
It certainly seems like a very California thing to do.
Yeah.
I cancel it. I move it from there. I'd say, fuck you, fuck your state, and we're leaving, dude. But I mean, the reality is Roy Jones probably got that in there because you don't want to get fucking ice housed by Mike Tyson, which I can understand. But I would just say put an extra $500,000 on it, bro, and I'll go down. Roy Jones Jr., you watch him talk now, he's already fucking half brain damaged, bro. Like that's just so stupid. That's the dumbest thing I've heard all week long, dude. California deserves to lose that fight and every bit of revenue from that. And commissions all over this country are just filled with incompetent, money-hungry, lecherous shitbags. Like they don't care about marketing shows. They don't care about helping the independent organizations. They only care about more insurance money coverage, having a doctor there with extra, paying triple for ambulances to also be on there when you have a doctor on your show. Just taking money out of promoters and the licensing to every single way they possibly can, dude, for doing nothing, for adding nothing safety regulation wise, only adding like scare tactics to the locker room of like the commission's here and like everyone's asshole puckers up, dude, just so they can walk around and act like they're fucking flexing. Now, I will say there's a couple guys that are commissioners in New York State, which is the most corrupt and money hungry, charging the most to indie promoters for all this extra shit. But those guys are better dudes. The ones I know from Kentucky to sounds like out in California and obviously Vegas and some in Florida, dude, they're just shit bags from the jump, dude.
I remember when I was working as one of the managers for OVW, I remember one particular show. Well, there's actually two shows. We had a show at the Kentucky State Fair, and then we had our 1000th TV show that we did. And I can't tell you how many times we had to have the poster pulled, which we were trying to promote on social media and around town because of different red tape things that really didn't matter, but it was an excuse for the commission to try to hold their power over the company. So, for instance, when we first were trying to promote it, even though we had submitted notice to the state, because the state had not taken the time to put it on their calendar, we couldn't promote it yet. Okay, so then they put it on their calendar. So we can promote it. But then it gets taken down because the poster doesn't say Gladiator Sports Network presents the show. Because for whatever reason, even though it's not inside the bylaws, the commission said they're going to enforce that. And so, okay, so we put it up again. It gets taken down because the guy making the poster put Gladiator Sports presents. No, it's Gladiator Sports Network. It has to say it explicitly. Then we got it taken down again because we put Mick Foley on the poster. And since he's not licensed as a wrestler, we had to put on the poster explicitly, will not be wrestling on this show. It will only be available for meet and greets. And so we literally had to put out this poster like half a dozen times trying to. And so by the time we got through all that, it was 2 weeks later into promoting the show. And it only hurts the show when we have less time to promote. And it's just, it's crazy. Why is what I ask myself. Why? There's no reason for it.
And they can go around slinging out fines. They need to be fined. These are the pork belly fat, government side things that your taxes are going to fund. Not even what we pay as promoters and wrestlers in licensing fees and all this shit. That doesn't fund them. Your tax dollars does on top of that and pays their, whatever they're going to get with a state retirement. And all they do is show up with a briefcase and a little badge and like walk around to fucking flex on people who are trying to put on a good show and do something for a small community that doesn't get a lot of entertainment in their hometown. And then you got to go through all this bullshit just so they can throw a power play in government. Every one of them. You want to say cancel the police? Cancel every fucking athletic commission that there ever was, dude. They're all just a bunch of sycophantic shit.
Now, we'll say, actually, I disagree necessarily with that statement. It's all in how it does, because I do think there should be standards and practices for being able to, say, run a wrestling show, because I can't tell you how many outlaw wrestling shows I've seen where the ring isn't set up properly. Guys aren't trained. People are getting hurt, and it makes the whole industry and the professional wrestling, it puts a bad taste in people's mouths, especially when people are like, oh, it's that wrestling again. Some kid got hurt. You know what I mean? And it leads to these little stories in these little towns that put a bad taste in people's mouths. So I do think a commission should be around, but it's all in how it's ran. If it's all just to give the play power plays and give these promotions the runaround and not actually enforce standards and practices for the betterment of the profession, then absolutely, that's a no-go. And so
you've seen it when John Cena or Batista or Mark Henry shows up. They're not like, oh, good to see you, sir. I'm glad you're licensed and everything. We're glad to have you on the show. It's like, can I get a picture with you, bro? Like, it's just marks running these things, dude. Right. All the time. And even the guys I like from New York State, to be honest with you, two commissioners that I know pretty well, it's the same thing. Can I get a picture with you, bro? You're the best. And like, I like the guys, so I'll do it just for good faith. But like, that's the reality of who you have to bow down to in like this weird power structure. Now, if it's these mud shows that are yarders, you think the commission ever shows up at their shit or tells them to tear down a poster? No, it's because they want little power over OVW that was a WWE property so they can flex and do these types of things, man. Like, not selling for them at all. If there's anything that we agree on, you have to have a license, you have to have insurance, and you have to have a doctor. Anything aside from that on your show, because some mud show isn't going to bring in a doctor to do all that shit. And
I do think that athletes should meet a minimal standard of health before they are allowed to step foot in the ring. So you don't have some stupid motherfucker jump in the ring and break his neck or have a heart attack because he can't physically do what needs to take place, or him hurting someone else, which is even worse. You know what I mean?
Well, then we're not going to have botchamania clips. We need botchamania clips.
Yeah. You should be able to do a minimal amount of push-ups, you know what I mean, and be able to get your resting heart rate up to a certain point and keep it there within a certain amount of minutes, like a submax cardio test. It takes about 6 minutes to do. A physical therapist can perform it. I can do it. You know what I mean? But to be able to meet a minimal standard of health, I think is also, I don't think that's an unreasonable request as well. And that would be something most people who at least have a minimal amount of athleticism should be able to pass. You know what I mean? And I think that would be an acceptable standard.
I might hurt a couple guys I know. I work with Super Beast, and he's probably about 425, and he can work matches and knows his style. He uses my human shield, but you see him, he's so morbidly obese that you're like, oh, so he would. And
I wouldn't say that would take him out of the question. I wouldn't say they would take him out of the question. Now, he might have to do a little bit of work on the side to get his cardio up to par to pass the test.
Right.
But I think that's okay. If you don't pass, you can come back and be tested within 30 days. You know what I mean?
How you're using them. If you're just using them for one spot, that's you know what I mean? He's not out there working 12 minutes where he might drop dead of a heart attack, which he could at any time, I guess.
True, but that's where the commission should have no say in what people do in the ring. They're either licensed or they're not. So I would say that if they do something in the ring, that they have to be licensed. Now, they could have a manager's license where maybe they can say that they cannot actually get in the ring and compete, but they can maybe do a physical involvement, say like they're allowed to do 1 to 3 spots in a match, and that's it. Maybe I'm just spitballing here, but I do think there are a minimal amount of standards you can set for people to keep them safe and not overreach at the same time.
What took so long for OVW dealing with how strict the Kentucky Commission is to make that move across the river to kind of the Wild West of wrestling in Indiana, where seemingly anything goes?
Well, that's exactly why they're going across the rivers, because they can't make any headway with the state of Kentucky. And now I would say it goes both ways. I also know, at least from my time with OVW, that there was not a lot of due diligence done on OVW's part as far as coming up with a written out plan in order to have a show, which I think would have been a big part in helping to be able to get us to start running again. But that being said, the commission from their end, at least back when I was running things, were not willing to have much back and forth conversation and discussion as far as what needs to be done in order for OVW to open. It was more so, right now the answer is no, and that's it until later notice. And so from both ends, both could have done more to rectify the situation. But that being said, because it's, hey, we're not even going to talk with you from the Kentucky Commission, or in the state of Indiana, there is no athletic commission. So therefore, that is why OVW is choosing to at least temporarily relocate their shows over the
They called their bluff too, because they tried to come over the top and be like, we're threatening to move to Florida because one of the owners has interest in there, to like force some meeting that was supposed to happen in July, because I was going to be booked on the 8th down there for some other show in Ashland, but that conversation never happened. They never lightened it up. And there's other places. I think August 22nd is the first time I'm seeing shows at other places start to get booked coast to coast, but could all be that. I think there'll be a week of that, and then because of whatever Clinton trial is coming up that they want to take away from, they'll do some false flag and everything's going to get shut down once again, dude. So they've tried to pull their card, and now they're just going over to Indiana, and it's all a work, dude. I mean, everything is just smoke and mirrors for promoters to have to be the dirtbag promoters that they have to be, because the whole thing is set up for you to lose $1,500 out of the gate. And even on a poster, to come back time and time again shows how petty, absolutely petty they are in that. Like, they really care about the fans. Like, no, it has to be network on there. Mick Foley isn't going to do this, that, the other. Dude, just let me promote and say Mick Foley's going to be there. My creative might change the day of. I don't need to justify this stuff with you. Someone who has no investment in my business, someone who's not helping pay my guys or sell a ticket. You're doing the exact opposite of helping me sell a ticket. So this touch hole in California should be fucking fired, drummed out of the business, and actually have to fight Mike Tyson in a back alley some way. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen, those are the headlines for this edition of the Monday Locker Room.
Glad we had a
side by side of Tyson training and Roy Jones training, bro. I mean, they're both impressive, no doubt, but there's no chance for Roy Jones, dude, bro. But I mean, now there is. Now, here's the other thing. Now that you say it's not a knock, we're not going to do knockouts. That's a worked fight. You're going to watch a worked fight. That's the definition of it. Don't hold back and don't go all out. Don't do what you're trained to do to put this guy out. Okay, I won't. Okay, now the fights will work, bro.
Although what will be interesting is if this comes out and the media starts prodding Mike Tyson about it being a work and how he's not going to be able to finish off the fight. Don't get out Mike Tyson to just go crazy and get worked up over it and say fuck it and just bam. You know what I mean? I'm hoping he doesn't necessarily do it, but at the same time, there's also that layer of possibility too, and that layer of intrigue, I guess, as far as
Roy Jones shouldn't go more than 3 rounds with Mike Tyson. It should be a 2nd round knockout. And to be honest with you, even sparring, if he's going to half spar, I'd rather get knocked out in the 2nd than go 8 rounds of sparring of getting whacked on by Mike Tyson, dude. Just put me to sleep fucking 30 seconds in the 2nd, bro. I'm fine with that, B. Like, and get my payday, and you look like a beast that you are. Instead of staying in there next 3 weeks, you're like, God damn, why did I do that, bro? I could have taken a nap and been fine. A little headache, and the next day I'm good. Just idiocy, man. But that's how we're going to wrap it up here in Monday Locker Room style, you guys. Twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. I'm feeling better than I did when we first got on air. Getting the adrenaline fired up, cutting some shoot promos on those who need it, and maybe burying ourselves further, but it doesn't matter because the industry's crippled, and we're the pundits who are going to tell it like it is, whether it's Disco or Jim Ross or Vince Russo. We're always going to be saying the same logical, thought-out psychology that will actually save the wrestling business from the people who are just Titanicing it right into the iceberg week after week after week. And our time will come because they're slowly cutting their throat every as time goes by. They just can't get it right, and they won't be able to. They won't be able to pull it out of a nosedive. And we'll be here to pick through the wreckage at hackerhamin.podbean.com. Beast, pink tie, bow tie, a lot of ladies on the client list today. What's going on, man?
Actually, so that's not necessarily why I'm wearing the pink though, but yeah, we definitely got make some old ladies do some squats today, but also as well, really excited for the Hamin Media Group of secondary affiliate page that we're putting out all these pet projects that we're doing right now. If you go to the YouTube page, we got the digital debates between Rick Vickery and MSG, Family Guy versus South Park. And of course, we're going to do other debates going forward. So definitely give us your feedback. Let us know what you want to see. And I realize too, people are going to watch and there are some edit cuts that are weird. This is the first time I've sat down and tried to create a show from beginning to end. So do let me know your critiques, but just go in and know that this is someone that I feel like I have what it takes to tell a story. It's a different set of skills to be able to produce a cohesive piece. And so as we go forward, I'm sure my editing skills will become better.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's too bad, honestly.
Great. I think it looks great.
But you will notice there's some weird cuts because there's parts of it. So we had originally done it with MSG and RBV, and then I went back and reshot my parts because when we did it, I was not particularly feeling the energy. But I realized I had cut my hair between cuts. And so you'll see some weird cuts. I'm like, shit. So I couldn't leave out in any parts because otherwise I'd have hair in some parts and no hair in the others.
I think that's awesome.
But anyway, so definitely check it out. Let us know what you think. I'm also, per popular demand, I mentioned doing a drinking show and people had brought it up. So I am going to actually sit down with my wife and we're going to actually sample some different beverages. I'm going to blindfold her and we're going to taste our way through some different variants of different bourbons and tequila and beer and things like that, just to have some fun and try some different things. So if there's anything particular you'd like for us to try, let me know. And then of course you can catch me on the Impact Attack every week, every Wednesday. Every week I do a different pitch for Scott D'Amore for a different character on the roster to try to be a part of. It still has not been successful, but each week you will see me make the attempt. And of course, the NXT Next Level review every Thursday with Colin Wysong, where I take on the role as the NXT digital coach with young Colin, and we assign homework every week. And so you could help me grade Colin on whether he passes or fails the class, or you can take part of the homework too. It's a lot of fun. So definitely join us.
I love that take on it, and good numbers this week on the Next Level podcast. So thank you for everybody downloading that as well, man. And Man Beast just
having a lot of fun.
Killing it out of the gate here at Hamin Media Group. His own pet projects, obviously co-hosting 3 of our mainstream shows, and being a main producer of our marketing as well, and driving it that way, man. Just a lot of hats like he always wears, and he does it with ease. He makes it look easy, man. RBV, what do you got going down today? I saw you put some Skyline chili shit, and I got diarrhea just looking at it on your timeline the other day. So
well, hey,
not sure you're forcing down the day.
Coming up this Thursday, July 30th, it's one of my favorite but unofficial holidays. It just so happens to be National Chili Dog Day, Ben.
Oh boy.
So you got to get everybody out there to go celebrate. However you like it, whatever style of chili, whatever toppings you like, this Thursday, go out and celebrate National Chili Dog Day. I'm going to hit a couple spots. But yeah, to keep up with those delicious of the days, just follow me across all social media at The Real RBV. Catch all the food, the pops of the day, and whatever random wrestling thoughts just kind of pop into my mind.
Awesome, man. And you're at Ted the Man Beast on Twitter as well.
That's right.
So definitely go over there. You guys give them a follow. Hamin Media Group on Instagram doing a lot this week as we look into propaganda, as we look into the alien stuff. I'm sure El Plaja's got his editing hat on, absolutely ready to get some new stuff out here. Kaz doing great work for us as well. Hamin Media Group and Russo brand best of clips. You can see that on our Twitters as well. So yeah, guys, it's going down all week long. I feel a little bit refreshed now after this got me spiked up. Watch Raw tonight, and that'll bring me right back down to ground zero once again. We'll be cranking out shows for you all week here. Please follow that Hamin Media Group on what is it, on podbean.com and on your iTunes feed as well. We're trying to get the numbers up there as we shift all your favorite, shows over there, from Pro Wrestling Reflection, Horror Junkyard, Suck My Balls podcast, Right Opinion podcast, all the stuff that you love. You're not losing any of it. You just got to add another feed so we can make sure everybody's getting the right spotlight and shine that they deserve here at hackerhamin.podbean.com, twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman. You know where it is, infidels. It's the Monday Locker Room. We're back on the road, ready to take on all shows. YOLO. And broadcast, like, too.